Good morning. So what I'd like to do today is go over some georeferencing in ArcGIS Pro. It works slightly differently than ArcMap if that's what you're used to doing, but the basic concepts are still the same. What we have going on here, we've got a grid to kind of help us locate the general area of our image, which is, we're lucky to have that. You don't always have that luxury. We have an image that we're going to reference and some base imagery to try and match it to. So in this case, we're doing some historical imagery. So up first, we're going to go over to our imagery tab and we'll select the image we want to georeference in our table of contents, and then there's this georeference tool. We'll start that up and you'll see you get a new tab. And that tab has all of our stuff like import control points, add control points. This is what we'll be doing. And we may try a few different transformations to see how it looks. So first things first, let's scan over our image and try and find some spots that we can match. I think this little horseshoe looking spot right here looks pretty promising. It's a very distinct feature. So let's see if we can find that on our image we're going to reference. So let's we'll zoom over to that image, and yeah, I believe that's the same spot. Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll go up here and grab our add control points, try and find this corner where it meets the driveway, and we'll go back and match those 2 points. All right. So let's go ahead and do the other side of this driveway. Let's see if we can get it to fit. So we zoom on in, we add another point. Zoom back out. And here we go, we'll add it on the other side of this driveway. I think right about there is the spot. Oh. How's our matching looking so far? So let's take a peek. Turn it off, turn it on. These things seem to be on and up. Yeah, it looks like we're getting there. So up next, let's see if we can't find another spot a little farther away that we can also match. Because one of the important things is to spread those points out as far as you can to get a better adjustment. So I see this nice driveway corner over here. Let's turn this back on. Yeah, it's the same one. Add it in our source image. Match it to our base imagery. Let's see how we're looking. Whoa. So what's happened is looks like we're getting a little skewed. The image is warping a bit because all of our control points are on this side. Let's move over and see if there's something over here. A little farther this way. It looks like there are. We've got some more driveway corners over here. Okay. So that one looks nice and straight. Clear view. Do we have the same one? I do believe we do. Yep. And we'll grab this corner, nice and tight. There we go. And we'll match it up to where it goes. And now you can see it's really starting to match up a lot better. Some of these features that it's good to look for are these, a poured concrete pad. It's got a nice sharp edge that you can often find again if there's not a car parked on top of it. the road intersections and driveway corners, those all make great spots where you can match these things up. So let's see, I think we got a spot right here on this edge of this driveway, which is pretty close to there. What you might see here is, so these points don't quite come together. And that's because we're getting outside of how far we can stretch the image to match. So let's come over and we'll have a peek here at our control point table. And you can see, it gives you your source X and Y, your map X and Y, and your residuals. And this will tell you how far away from where you wanted it to be as to where it is. The closer you can get these numbers to 0, the better. So let's try and add 1 or 2 more control points in here and see if we can tighten this up a little bit. I see this driveway. Looks pretty good in both. You can see them clearly. And as you might notice, the more points we add, the larger our residual gets, because we're stretching and pulling on that image to put it into a shape that it wasn't to begin with. So this is where we can start moving up in our transformations. So we've got more control points. We can use a different transformation. We can move to the second order, and you'll notice that snap, and man, all of our residuals have dropped back down to 0. We can see it's all matching up everywhere we placed points. But you might also notice that this whole thing is a little warped looking, and with older imagery like that, that's to be expected. You're not always gonna get it to be exact, but the goal is to do the best you can. So let's see what we got up here. Now we got this other horseshoe driveway. Let's see if we can actually make that match somewhere. So, yeah, we'll start from our source image here at this corner. And it looks like it needs to go to there. There we go. And now look, see that kind of bulge we had a minute ago at the top. It's flattened out as we keep adding control points and tightening up this adjustment. So let's see, we got another great spot right here. Now as we can toggle this on and off, we can see we're getting a really good match now. Everything's lining up basically right on top of our new imagery, which is exactly what we want. So now at this point, we are ready to finish our adjustment. What we can do, we have a couple of options. We can save, and when you save, see, right now we just have an image in here in our directory, and what we'll do is we'll save. And what happens there is ArcPro writes out some files. So this is like a world file, but just a little different. And of course an XML detailing what the software did. And that's great. You can use that inside of ArcMap and ArcPro to see that image as it was adjusted. But if you want to use it in any other application, you'll probably want to do a save as new. And that'll pull up your export raster tool. Let's set a location. So let's do that. We'll just throw it in a temp directory and call it example1 TIFF. We're not going to do any transformations. We're not going to do any clipping. This is fine for most of the defaults. Output and for our compression, we'll just stick with LZW for good quality. And we can export that out. There we go. It's all done. And now you can see our example image is just your standard image with a TFW, just like what you'd expect. And then you can use that in any software. Now that we're finished, we can close our georeferencing, and if you have more images to do, move on to the next one.